Bang, bang, Niner gang. Thank you guys for coming to another episode of the Gold Gridiron Podcast with your host, Will. Today we're just going to be we're going to be analyzing the 49ers defense, man. It's defense win championships, man, and I'm a defensive guy, Um, that's not true. I'm more of an offensive guy, but I love defense too. Again, I watch the game so much more differently than everybody else. Most people are looking at the quarterback, and one thing about me, when I'm looking at the offense, I'm looking at who creating separation, who's holding up on blocks, the kind of scheme that Shanahan is drawing up. It's a flood concept, or it's a mesh, just anything, stuff like that. And I just look at the game a little bit differently. But the defense is where it's at, man. I think our last two Super Bowls, definitely last three, honestly, came down to defense, man. And it's really important, man. But let's start off with the Dre Greenlaw signing. Because that's what stands out on the defense, Dre Greenlaw, what he does to this defense, it's an energy booster, man. When a defense is just very down, it's more of like it's a contagious thing, man. When you see that one of the leaders are kind of just going down and they're not really playing their best, Dre is there to lift you up, man. Dre got that spirit in him, man. So, it's so happy he's back, man. But we're gonna get into his abilities and whatnot. But let's start off with the 49ers, what they typically run and whatnot. Most teams run a front seven and have a front seven, but I would say for us it's more of like a front six in a way. We ran a lot of a 4-2-5 formation, and basically, it just means four down defensive linemen, two linebackers, and five defensive backs. And it's typically the two linebackers that you have got to be athletes, man. Got to be athletes. You got to be able to go to sideline to sideline and make those plays, man. Because it's only two of you, but Fred and Drake got that. That's fine. You know, I think a lot of the two linebacker scheme, it really just depends on the kind of linebackers you have. Like a Levante David, shout out to him, he retired. He was able to, what you saw him do in Tampa Bay, is just when you have a guy, man, that's just so consistent, starts on defense every year, that's that's a talent, dude. Because when you get older, your body breaks down, man, and you just got. I'm just using him as an example. I'm saying it because he retired, and everybody know the impact he's had on the game for a while. So, but we have the best linebacker in the game. So you see what Fred Warner can do, who I honestly think might be one of the greatest linebackers of all time. Might be a little biased, but Fred Warner, man, that dude is just your grandma know who Fred Warner is, bro. So we're gonna move on though. Oh, and back what I was saying about a 4-2-5, the type of D lineman you want, specifically in the inside, we have a lot of run stoppers. So it's typically kind of harder for us to get to the quarterback. You know, CJ West, Alfred Collins, I know it's a few more I might be missing. Those guys are run stoppers. You can just tell by their build and whatnot. When you run up, we have a lot of 3-4 type of guys in our defensive linemen, D line room. I'm sorry, and most 3-4 guys are built. They're 6'2", maybe around 325, 330. They're bigger guys. And when you run a 4-3, you want more of like pass rush type guys. Those guys are more like 6'2", maybe 280, 285. Look, man, a lot of people don't know, but 20 pounds in the NFL, 10 pounds make a difference, man. So, it's very important, that we get those guys that we need because the pass rush ain't it. It ain't it at all. So, let's just start off with Alfred Collins. Let's start off with this defensive line. I think he's around 6'5", 320, 6'4", 6'5", one of them, same thing. He lacks pass rushing ability, but he's a great run stopper, man. Back at Texas, I remember watching him play. And, ironically, I was like, damn, I would love for the 49ers to get a guy like that. But he's still young. He's still a rookie, going in the second year now. So, man, that plays a part, man. When you got a guy like that, Like, I love a rookie that shows promise because not all rookies do that. They get into the league and sometimes they panic and they're human. Let's not forget that. But moving on to CJ West, one thing I like about CJ, very big guy, man, very big guy. Kind of reminds me of Javon Kinlaw, but obviously a little bit smaller. But I think he was a little bit bigger than Javon Kinlaw as far as weight wise. Very good at holding his leverage. Great run stopper as well. Not a great pass rusher, but it is what it is. They know they're boosting that defensive line. John Lynch ain't no dummy, man. He know what he doing. Nick Bosa, look, man, freak athlete, great at stopping the run, great at just everything, dude. He makes the money he makes every year for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Freak athlete, dude. It's just I ain't Nick Bosa. Enough said, dude. Oza Odigizua, great pass rusher. I am so amped to see what he can do for our team, man. I believe he's a pass rushing defensive tackle, and that's what we need. We lack that, and his build. I think he's around maybe 6'3", 280, 285, and that's the kind of pass rusher that you need as a defensive tackle. But man, like those type of builds, like Aaron Donald, not the biggest guy, but very agile. Very good with his hands. That stands out with a defensive lineman. You can tell when a guy can bend well, use his hands. Good footwork too, man. Just don't be a fat slob in the middle and can't do nothing. Just because there's more to it than being strong. You got to have technique. That's in every position. I don't care what you play, whether it's punter, just doesn't matter, long snapper, any position. Michael Williams, man. Again, I remember seeing a stat that said we were around 8 in the run when it comes to stopping the run when we had Michael Williams. And once he left, we were, I think, 27th. So that tells you a lot right there, man. Coming off of ACL. Michael Williams is special. More of a run stopper, but again, we're getting pass rushers. They're coming, man. They're coming. Fred Warner, like I just said, great coverage ability, great run stopping ability. Fred Warner is one of the greatest linebackers I've seen, man. And enough said. Dre Greenlaw, the one thing that sticks out to me about Dre Greenlaw, very mean, very passionate, but very injury prone. I think we'll be very grateful to get 12 plus games out of him. I think even then that's kind of a stretch, but hopefully, man, his body can stay intact, man. We need Dre. Definitely a leader for this team, man. D Winters. Okay. So D Winters is special, but I don't know if he knows that. And what I mean by that is, when he was at TCU, he was a pass rusher. You know what I'm saying? Coming off the edge, coming from being a pass rusher to being an off-ball linebacker, it's not easy to do, especially going from being in college to the league. You got to give him props for that. I think he did a damn good job, man. Damn good job. I like D Winters a lot. Still kind of lacks the pass coverage ability, but like I said, man, it's not easy. You put yourself in his shoes. Then having to cover for Fred Warner. And same thing with Tatum Bethune. I think they both filled in pretty well for Fred when he was out. And again, that's a lot to ask for, dude. It's like being a backup for Aaron Donald, dude. Being a backup for Patrick Mahomes. Everyone knows you're not going to be like those kind of guys, but as long as you can know your place, do your job, the littlest things mean the most, man, when it comes to sports. I say sports, not just football. Watching film, doing what you can do, just analyzing stuff, man. You'll be fine. I'm glad about that. Secondary, whew. Man, where do I start, dude? Where do I start? Diamador Lenore, great, not good, great coverage ability. Very physical. I love how fearless he is. But I will say this. I don't believe he's a captain for the team. I think he makes a lot of bonehead mistakes. getting in guys' faces, grabbing face masks and stuff like that. That's not what you want. I don't mind a little I don't mind a little, talking. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, as a captain, it's important to control your composure. Keep your composure. Be smart. Don't get your team in a jam. You know, you're teaching other guys when you have that C on your chest. So um, I want him to mature a little bit. But other than that, great player, man. Great player. Don't ever really see him get beat. Just was a really good guy, man. I'm so glad we got him out of Oregon. Definitely, what a good signing by John Lynch. You good when you get signed, like when you get a contract mid-season, dude. That says a lot. Renardo Green. Okay, I think he's a great. No, great. Hell no. Nah. I think he's a good man coverage guy, but at the same time, I can't give him a lot of slack because he has to cover for like 5, 6 seconds. You know what I'm saying? When you have to do that, it's a lot for a DB. You know what I'm saying? It kind of reminds me, back in 2019 when the 49ers had that defensive line. Nick Bosa, D Ford, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, Solomon Thomas, Ronnie Blair, the list can go on. It's when you had those guys, all those first round picks at defensive linemen, you don't really need to have a great secondary. You just gotta have guys that can kind of hold up. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, when you got a D line like that, you only need to cover for about 3 to 4 seconds. So if you can just cover for 3 to 4 seconds, that's it. That's all we ask of you. Look, we had an old Richard Sherman, which wasn't terrible. He could kind of be a liability in coverage. I remember he gave up a big play to Sammy Watkins in the Super Bowl. But other than that, he did his part. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna give him a lot of slack for that. He did his part. And when you go on the opposite side, I remember we had Akella Weatherspoon, we had Emmanuel Mosley, and those guys weren't world beaters, but they were able to fill in well because that D line. I'm not sitting here saying they were good because of the defensive line, but it plays a part. So let's just be real with ourselves. Keller Weatherspoon is not a great corner at all. I don't think he's good either. Upton Stout. Okay, I love Upton Stout a lot, a lot. He had a lot of BS calls though. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of holding, pass interference. He is a little bit grabby, just a little bit grabby, but he's always there, and that stands out. Like I said, rookie going into a second year. I have a lot of high hopes for Upton Stout. Jair Brown, man, dog. You know, I definitely believe that he's part of the Taliban. I think him and Jake Brendel are best buddies, man. I think those guys are definitely part of Al Qaeda or something, dude. But you know, I don't know, man. I don't know why he's on the team still. I don't like a lot of safeties that are more run support, man. But I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm just being funny though when I say that. But I think he sucks. I don't think he's trash though, if that makes sense. Like Jimmy G sucked, but he wasn't trash. Definitely makes a difference. Jair Brown just we don't need more run support safeties, man. We need guys that are more hybrid, guys that are we don't have a lot of okay, what I'm saying is this. We had a Tashawn Gibson who was 31, 32, and he had, I think, 3 to 4 interceptions, I think his last full year with us. And that stands out a lot. So we need more ball hawks, man. That's the word I was trying to think. We need ball hawks, man. That's what we need more than anything. And Jair Brown, he's just not it, man. Great character. I love him. He's very physical, man. Very physical, but being physical can only take you so far sometimes. You got to still cover. You still got to do your job well. Marquise Siegel. I think he has a lot of bright spots, but still young. Just don't really have the reps. When I saw that he was starting the first game of the season last year, I was like, wow. Like I think he was the first rookie to start in the secondary for so many years, and that stood out a lot. So Marquise Siegel, still young, just needs the reps. Malik Mustafa. Man, where do I start, man? I believe he's a liability. You know, I love six. I think he's dude almost built like a linebacker. I just think I don't want to say he's a complete liability, but again, he's a run stopping, run support type of guy. Um, Play a lot of robber. A lot of people don't know what that is. It's just man coverage safety kind of comes down, just kind of controls the slants and whatnot, kind of just covers that part. Comes down a little bit, but just we need more ball hawks. I was really hoping that we could have got maybe like a Minka Fitzpatrick or maybe even a guy like Jesse Bates. So I couldn't think of his. I think Justin Simmons. I don't know what's going on with him, but I'm surprised he's not signed yet. But other than that, we just this secondary needs a little bit of help. But you can't fix everything. You can just kind of put your guys out there, hope and pray for the best. But the defensive line, in the secondary and whatnot, linebackers, they're it's a work in progress, man. It's a work in progress. There's no perfect team. Um, but I definitely think if we just address situations, we'll be fine. I look forward to seeing what Raheem Morris can do and whatnot. And coming from Atlanta, I think he's close with Kyle Shanahan. I think they all have a past and whatnot. But man, the only thing we could do is watch. The only thing we could do is watch, man, and just hope and pray for the best. But that's gonna wrap up this video, man. Thank you guys for another episode for coming, man. That means a lot to me, man. I thank you guys for coming, supporting, man. My third video, I love doing this, man. I love doing breakdowns and whatnot. Um, it just means the world to me, man. And thank you guys, bro. I can't thank you enough. God bless you guys. Hope you have a great night. Goodbye.